You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. By going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com, you can make this possible. Covered right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered when Donald Trump signed his Opportunity Zones executive action, and so they touted at the White House all those different things. So people like Under Armour's Kevin Plank, one of the richest people in America and in Maryland, they're getting huge tax breaks for investments that are not new and not in a poor area. Plank's area was picked over neighborhoods that are actually poor. ProPublica had an investigation into how Trump's tax breaks are helping the rich get rich and leaving the poor poor. Joining us now is Jeff Ernsthausen, a data reporter for ProPublica. Jeff, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
I had one of the folks who was at the White House when this actually first was announced, a guy from Baltimore, an African-American, and I said, we will cover this. I said, but I want to make sure that this is actually helping poor folks and not allowing some rich folks to get by when it comes to being able to make more money. What did y'all discover about Under Armour, their CEO, and the Opportunity Zone there in Baltimore?
So our reporting found that Kevin Plank, Under Armour CEO, was able to get a program or get a project that he's building in Baltimore called Port Covington to be in an area that would qualify for a huge tax break under Trump's tax law. And this was even though the census tract that he's building in is actually too wealthy to qualify for the program. We found that it was made eligible ultimately by a mistake on the part of the U.S. Treasury in mapping out what tracts could be included. And then it was picked by Maryland Governor Larry Hogan's administration, even though we found emails suggesting that they were aware that it was too wealthy to be included in the program. And they did so after meeting with Plank's representatives and lobbyists.
So they knew beforehand. They knew beforehand it was too wealthy to qualify, and they went ahead with it anyway.
Yeah, so we have an email showing that a member of Hogan's staff sent himself a sort of note saying that the area was too wealthy to qualify. And then several weeks later, when they saw this revision from Treasury, they went ahead and included it anyway after meeting with Plank's folks.
So what oversight does Treasury have to ensure that poor tracts are actually getting the investment and this kind of crap is not happening?
So, I mean, Treasury, ultimately I think they had to approve the selection by governors, but basically they put out their list and governors could choose 25% of the eligible tracts at their own discretion and without any further guidance for what they had to do other than, pick from the list.
And what's stunning here, again, and this is what I warn people. I warned them on this. I said, because if it's going to the right people, I got no problem with it. And this is the concern that many people have with these opportunity zones, where it will be manipulated in order for rich folks to be able to help folks like themselves and not the poor folks. Supposedly, it's going to help. Now, since your story, how has Treasury responded? How has Governor Larry Hogan responded?
So we have not heard from Governor Larry Hogan or from Treasury since the story came out. Obviously, we went to them with our findings before we ran the story. And Hogan's folks reiterated that they're big supporters of the Port Covington program. And they also pointed us towards Treasury for this issue of why it qualified. Treasury said, we made a technical decision, even though I mentioned to them that experts say it was actually an error, and they sort of just stood by that.
So what happens now? He gets the tax breaks and to screw the poor?
Well, it's not clear exactly how the manner in which he's going to benefit. I mean, one of them is going to be that he's going to be ultimately selling some of this area off to other people. And with this new tax break, those you can imagine folks might be a bit more eager to buy in that area.
This is exactly the kind of shady crap that I warn people about. I had all of these Republicans hitting me up. You won't give Donald Trump any credit for doing anything. This is going to help black people. This is clear, specifically in this project. It is not going to help the folks who are impoverished in those areas. It's going to line the pockets of a billionaire even further. Jeff?
Yeah, there's no particular requirement within the law that the people who live in an area that receives investment necessarily benefit from it. You know, the theory that they are going with is that, you know, money coming into an area is good for the area. I think if the law includes better regulations around transparency, maybe we'll be able to ultimately assess what the impact was someday.
Jeff, we certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much for the fine work ProPublica does. You guys do a great job, and we'll keep following this story. Be sure to let us know the next report you do on these opportunity zones, and we'll have you back.
All right. Thanks for having me.
All right, then. Let's bring in our panel right now. Teresa Lundy. She's the principal founder of TML Communications. She joins us via Skype. Malik Abdul, Vice President, Black Conservative Federation. Dr. Jason Nichols, Department of African American Studies, University of Maryland. Jason, I'm going to start with you. Well, first, let's talk about that last story, opportunity zones. I kept warning people. I said, I will give anybody credit if something is working like it's supposed to. There's no reason in the world why the Trump Treasury Department and Governor Larry Hogan of Maryland should not cancel this right now, because it does not qualify for these opportunity zones.
Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, by getting all these tax breaks, just like, you know, people made the argument with Amazon in New York, they're actually robbing the people of Baltimore and robbing the people of Maryland. In an opportunity zone, there are plenty of places in Baltimore City that need development that could use the help of Kevin Plank. Kevin Plank, you know, a fellow Terp. There's plenty of places, you know, in West Baltimore, in East Baltimore. But his area, Port Covington and South Baltimore, is an area that is not poor, doesn't need that significant level of investment, and this isn't necessarily going to help the people that need it. And again, the Trump administration always, you know, kind of says that they're going to do things, but then gives a little wink.
Malik?
Well, I don't know what happened in Baltimore. Here in D.C., and I can speak for...
No, hold on, no. We're discussing this particular story.
Right.
ProPublica has broken it down that this did not qualify. The governor, Larry Hogan of Maryland, his office knew this was not right. It was not in the right census tract, and the Treasury Department went ahead and approved it anyway. Yeah. This is wrong.
Yeah, well, I can't speak to what happened in Baltimore.
But I'm asking you about what happened in Baltimore.
Well, I don't know, so you're asking me something.
You read it.
You're asking me about something that I don't know why those decisions were made.
No, I'm not asking.
You read the post.
Hold on, I'm not asking you about why those decisions were made. What I'm saying is, here you have ProPublica, through their reporting, they discovered the emails showing what they knew this did not qualify, that the tract was too rich. Isn't this the kind of crap that should not be happening? There should be much better oversight to ensure that if a tract is too rich, they shouldn't be getting the tax breaks on the opportunity zones. Yes or no?
Absolutely. And I don't disagree with that. But I'm going to give you an example of where those opportunity zones have actually worked. Here in the District of Columbia, our mayor, we're going to talk about opportunity zones, so I want to talk about the opportunity zones.
No, we're talking about this specific story.
So I'm giving you an example. This is a bad example. This is where opportunity zones did not work.
Okay, Malik, hold on, Malik, one second, Malik, one second. Malik, one second. Let's be real clear, okay? I've covered this. Yes, we know there are places where things work. We're specifically talking about a case where it has failed and no one has made a move. Hogan's administration will not comment, okay? The Treasury Department, Steve Mnuchin, they will not comment. And what I'm saying is, that's wrong. What should happen?
Well, we've already had agreement that was actually wrong.
No, I'm asking you what should happen.
I don't know what happened in these type of situations. If the zones need to be redesignated or whatever, then that's something that we should do.
No, the zones are already identified based upon poverty.
You're asking me about, I don't know about that part of the program. Well, I can tell you what should happen. I can tell you here in the District of Columbia where it actually worked. They're 24-hour mayor, and I don't know if it happens at the mayoral level in Baltimore mayor or the governor is actually responsible for it. But here in the District of Columbia, but here in District of Columbia, but here in the District of Columbia.
Well, first of all, obviously, District of Columbia is no state, so it has to be the mayor.
So our mayor designated 24 opportunity zones, 24 opportunity zone tracts in the city. Our mayor did. 18 of those 24 opportunity zones are located in areas where I live, which is east of the river.
Yes, which likely means that in Washington D.C. they actually followed the law.
Yeah, they absolutely did.
And gotcha. So what I'm saying is
it doesn't work, or this is something that's.
Oh my God, Teresa, let me go to you.
Give you an example.
Teresa, let me go to you. No, you're wrong. You're wrong, Malik.
Tell me that I'm wrong.
No, I am telling you you're wrong.
Well, according to
Malik, let me tell you why you're wrong. No, I am not disagreeing. No, Malik.
You're talking about Baltimore.
I am not disagreeing.
I said
yes, Malik. Why we're discussing Baltimore is because that's the story subject.
Absolutely.
It's like when you go on a show.
That I don't agree with what happened in Baltimore.
And I'm asking what should be done. Teresa, here's a piece. The governor of Maryland, Republican. Maybe that's why you don't want to criticize him.
That has nothing to do with that.
Teresa, the reality is here.
It has nothing to do
with that. The governor of Maryland needs to have the guts to say you are not going to get the tax breaks because you're in violation. They knew it in advance. They should have the guts to answer the calls of ProPublica, and the same with the Trump Treasury Department.
Absolutely. Governor Hogan does owe a responsibility to his Commonwealth and also the constituents that are in his district, and also to anyone who is applying for opportunity zones. Because we can't have, this opportunity zone that's for the poor, but yet the rich are benefiting. Otherwise, we go back into corruption. We go back into the non-commitment of promises that are made from the Trump administration. But as I see opportunity zones, living in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania are an opportunity indeed for those, in communities that need it the most. There has to be some oversight for the overall approach in order to make it whole.
Jason, this is why every single opportunity zone, every single deal that is made should be completely scrutinized to ensure you do not have rich folks taking advantage of a law designed to help poor people.
Absolutely. And one of the things that we know is that Kevin Plank is an FOT. He's a friend of Trump. We know that he was
now it's Trump, though, guys. Good grief.
Seriously, we're talking about the Trump administration. We're talking about Trump's
But you didn't want to hear a good example of that actually happening because it didn't fit your narrative. I understand.
All right,
no,
let's not do that.
Hold on. No, Malik. Let's be real. Let's be real clear.
What's happening in D.C. is
let's be real clear. There is only one narrative. There's one narrative. No, the narrative is if it helps those who are supposed to help, good. But where there is an example where it doesn't, so we're going to call it out. Jason, go ahead.
Because Kevin Plank is a friend of Donald Trump. Somehow, when you call the Treasury Department, they're like, well, and they don't want to answer phone calls. And maybe I'm incorrect, but I think it sounds like someone's getting a sweetheart deal because they know someone. That's the point that I'm making.
What it sounds like.
Well, of course, that's a convenient argument to make. But of course, I give you an example.
Stop.
But that wasn't what I was debating, Malik.
Give me another rationale you think why Kevin Plank got the sweetheart deal.
Well, I don't have another.
Even though the documentation shows.
I don't have another rationale. I was assuming maybe somebody knows somebody who knows somebody.
So that's the point I just made.
But you're making this a Trump administration thing when it's not a Trump
administration thing. Because we're talking about the Trump Treasury Department.
There are wealthy people who are benefiting from the same opportunity zone program in D.C. where it seems to be actually working. So this notion that somehow wealthy people won't benefit from a program where they're investing money in the program, it's just nonsensical.
Maybe the difference because you got a black Democratic mayor in D.C. I'm not done. No, I'm not. Hold up. See, this is why sometimes you should not write checks your ass can't cash. Because had you listened, Malik, you would have recognized that Hogan's office approved it.
Right.
Well,
And
he's
so,
the mayor, so he has to
no,
approve
he's
it.
the
Not the
governor.
mayor, he's the
governor.
The governor, but so the mayor of Baltimore had no say-so in the opportunity zones within their own city?
Read
the
story.
article, bro.
Is that a yes or a no?
Read the article.
Hold on, stop right. Hold on.
The mayor had no involvement in it. Yes, I did.
Okay, well, I don't understand why you
didn't have any involvement in it.
Anyway.
It didn't say I didn't have any involvement in it.
This doesn't fit your narrative.
It didn't say
real simple.
It didn't say Malik didn't have any involvement in it.
This is real simple, folks.
This doesn't
To all the folks watching at home.
I guess you were part of it because
To all the folks
evidence
watching
of
at
absence
home.
isn't the absence of evidence.
To all of you
You can yell,
watching.
man.
I got it one hand. To all of you watching, this is
You're
very
yelling.
simple.
That's what you're doing.
This is called deflection.
The
fact of the matter is this here. The fact I'm talking right now. The fact of the matter is this. This is very
You're doing a whole
simple.
lot of yelling.
The fact of the matter is this. ProPublica has a story outlining how a billionaire in Maryland is taking advantage of opportunity zones that are supposed to go to poor tracts. They knew it ahead of time, and the governor of Maryland, Republican Larry Hogan, his administration allowed it to go through. The Treasury Department under Steve Mnuchin, working for Republican Donald Trump, allowed it to go through. All we're saying is, very simple, is that if you are in violation of the very rules you set up, then you should not be getting a tax break. That's what you should be doing. I don't have to deflect and bring up D.C. or Houston or Charlotte or St. Louis to say this is wrong. And when ProPublica finds the next one, we're going to talk about that one as well. All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, folks, they're back. MarijuanaStock.org has another great investment opportunity. If you were lucky enough to invest in their last crowdfunding campaign, you know they raised a lot of money in just a few months investing in legal marijuana farms. Those initial investors now own shares of a publicly traded company. Folks, many of you missed it, but now is a chance for you to participate in this new investment opportunity that is as good, if not even better, than the last one. I'm talking about industrial hemp CBD. For those who don't know, the hemp plant is the cousin to marijuana with a much higher concentration of CBD, which means hemp CBD gives you all the medical benefits of marijuana without getting you high. Until recently, hemp farming was practically illegal in the United States and heavily regulated by the DEA. However, the 2018 Farm Bill recently passed in Congress, making it legal to grow hemp CBD in the U.S. and creating one of the largest commodities worldwide. They need land to grow all of the plants, and this makes for an incredible investment opportunity. That's where our good friends at 420 Real Estate come in. Their business model is very simple. They buy land that supports hemp CBD grow operations and lease it to licensed, high-paying tenants. That's right, they are hemp CBD landlords, and you can get in on the action. You can invest in this crowdfunding campaign for as little as $200 up to $10,000. Like I said, you don't want to miss out. Folks, you can go to marijuanastock.org. That's marijuanastock.org. Get in the game and get in the game now. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.